Bruce, forget the play. It's not gonna work. We're gonna go to jail.
Yeah, I think so too.
Absolutely.
Mike is coming.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Said he was.
That's right.
Okay, we're still waiting for Mike O'Brien, but, I'll go ahead and we'll get started on
Oh,
it
okay.
anyway. So I'd like to welcome everybody and thank you for taking time to come to our meeting today. And with that, we start the meeting, so I'd like an approval for the draft minutes of July 24.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
The treasurer's report. Glenn, anything on the treasurer's report?
Well, on the IDA side, you'll see that the receivables we're expecting from the industries in regard to the pump station are listed there. I had a conversation, we'll hear more about this later, a conversation with Saputo last week, and they have submitted it for approval by corporate and to get paid. And Friesland had already done that, and they're just typically a little slower. So hopefully that's on the way. I have not requested the funds from the Village of Delhi yet, just because I was waiting for the industry money to come in. And it's in the account, it's there, it's ours to use, so I'll probably do that for their September, let me make a note of that, for their September trustee meeting.
Okay.
Okay, then on the LDC side, we finally have some payments coming in, so, that's a little bit better. In terms of our funding, under the ag relending program, we've somehow run into an issue. If you'll recall, last fall, we received another loan for $1 million. Our first tranche of funds from that was $330,000. We've used that up over this summer. We asked for our second allotment of $330,000, and the guy who's in charge of the program, who sometimes gets confused, said, "Oh, you only got another $500,000, so we can't give you $330,000 more because you don't have that much." And so we're still in the process of working that out, which makes a big swing in terms of our funding available to lend. But we are working on that, and I've already contacted the guy, and I'm like, look, all the indicators are, and here's the signed note that says it was for $1 million. So we're expecting that it's $1 million. If somehow it's not, then we want another $1 million. And so he did say Heather was doing a lot of the follow-up with him, and he said we're their #1 lender under this program. So they're gonna help us out.
Keep feeding the bear.
Right, exactly.
That's great.
Oh, then under the IRP side, oh, all right, two things under the LDC also. So we are under a deferral for our IRP payments. Otherwise, we'd have 3 payments that would be due in September, which we could have covered out of our reserves, but we got a no-cost deferral from USDA through the end of the year. Right, Ted, that's the details on that. Yeah, so we've got 3 due in September, 1 due in December. Those will be deferred until 2021. Under ag relending program, we've been approved for a deferral under our repayment under that. And before I went ahead and signed that, I just got the paperwork yesterday. I just wanted to make sure that the board was okay with us deferring our repayment on that as well. Again, it's a no cost, no interest, it'll just tag an this is a 6-month deferral, and it'll just tag 6 months onto the end of our payback period.
Do you need a resolution?
probably, yeah.
Okay,
So
then
I'll make a motion.
motions, second,
Second.
any discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. So that's it on the treasurer's report side. Do we wanna get into the loan report? And if so, if we're gonna name specific, meaning that we should go into executive session.
Yes.
Yep.
The motion by the session, and a
So
second.
moved. Second.
Sorry, Lillian.
Give me just a minute.
It's a pretty fancy method, isn't it?
Well, we're going to resolve that hopefully this meeting. Okay, let me know when you're through.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, but we can't until we come back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we'll wait until we come back.
So we go in ready.
Okay.
Okay, so we are back out of executive session, and I need a motion to approve the treasurer's report, loan report, and the invoices.
So moved.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Jim, we need the motion for the 7 cables, so.
And we, yes, I need a motion to suspend payments for the 7 cables through May of next year. Have a motion to that effect. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Glenn, you wanna go through, review the 2019 audit?
Yeah, so, I spoke to, Scott this week. And, there were a couple of corrections that we're going to ask to be made. One was in reference to, a former line of credit with the, Bank of Cooperstown, which is no longer in effect. Just to clarify that, and then also, there was another note in there indicating that you, Jim, have a business relationship with NBT, which of course ceased
Right.
years ago. So we just have to clear up those two things. And then Scott also brought up an issue regarding confidentiality, because this audit does go up on our website. And I don't have an answer yet, but I will try to get it, is our loan customers are listed along with balances and things of that nature. And Scott brought up a question whether that should be kept confidential when we're putting, when this audit becomes public on our website, whether that is something we can black out, and I don't have an answer on that.
Well, then the question arises, if someone asks for our report, we have to black it out before we give it to them.
Right, and what do they get under FOIL, and so all of those issues. Part of my challenge was back when we did all these deals because of Uncle Mario, or Andrew, we had the borrower sign a confidentiality agreement in addition to us signing a confidentiality agreement. And then this heading is titled write-off/repayment. So you really don't know which it is, but you can kind of guess based on the dollar amounts that are here. And so it gives a name and a dollar amount. And I just feel that that is, one, going against that confidentiality agreement that we all signed, and two, more information than the reader really needs to have, because it doesn't impact our financial condition when you give the name. Fine with the total, it is disclosed in
That's what
there
should be
what
in
we
the
did
total.
with the total, but on an individual name basis, I don't feel that that's needed in the financial statement. So Glenn's gonna do some more research on that.
And I agree.
Yeah, I do
bet
too.
that's kind of personal and.
Yeah.
And what was the point of sending confidential agreements? What's the point of going in an executive session to talk about it?
Correct.
Were there any other questions or comments regarding the audit? It did show that because of the changes in our loan programs, we did have a reduction in assets for the IDA, but, we've discussed that for a couple years now.
Right. So it shows a reduction in income, a reduction in assets, but we all know why it happened. Anybody
Yeah.
wants to talk about that, we can.
I mean, is that something that Gruber and Scott could answer?
I'm gonna kick that one to Joe Scott, just to be sure.
Fair enough, okay.
It'll give me an excuse for yet another call, which we'll discuss later.
Okay. Next is the pipeline update.
Okay, so, as I mentioned in the financials, you know, we should be getting the reimbursements back to finally close out the pump station project. And everybody's satisfied with that. The pipeline, in terms of operationally, we are still trying, for some reason it's taking a long time to narrow in on a specific cleaning protocol for the pipeline. Right now, our cleanings are still being done on a very random basis, but it's producing a 20% increase in flow each time we do it. So why we sometimes wait 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 and have that fluctuation, I don't understand. But the cleanings are being performed on a voluntary basis by one of the industries. They did have the wastewater tested to try to be able to target the cleanings better. The last one we did, they tried something new and it was nearly ineffective. You know, it went up like 5 gallons per minute when typically we're going up 40 and 50. So we know now what not to do, but whatever, that process is just taking a frustratingly long time. However, it is showing that we are within, even with this random testing protocol or cleaning protocol we have now, we are within spitting distance of our goal. So it's showing that we can essentially make our numbers. So I think everybody's more comfortable with that. Now on to moving into the future, there is still an interest in upgrading that pipeline. Unfortunately, we just learned this week that there will be no CFAs this year. So that is unfortunate.
Andy's Hunger Games for Communities is gone.
Yes. Now we could potentially pursue, there's 2 other avenues we could potentially pursue funding for under this. One is the Upstate Revitalization Initiative, or otherwise known as Southern Tier Soaring. But that is an ongoing basis. However, I recently submitted a preliminary application for a project out at Mountainside Farms, which I forgot to put on here, but we'll talk about later. And we've heard no word back, so I don't even know if they're, what they're doing in that regard. The other one would be a potential grant through EDA, but that would again require entering into a cost-sharing relationship with those industries, and it's not really something I want to jump back into, at least until we get all our money back.
Right.
I wouldn't even consider it until then.
Can we go back to the protocols for a minute?
Yeah.
We still working with an engineering consultant?
Yes, but they are not doing it.
They're not.
No. Our current engineering company has basically determined that their role is to provide us with data and to make sure everything is operational from a equipment and physical standpoint. How we choose to operate the pump station, they believe, other than providing us with data, they have no real role in
You
it.
have nothing to do with the gallons?
Yeah,
So it really comes down to us and the village
Yeah.
putting together protocols.
us and the industries to put in together protocols, which the village reviews and says, yep, that's fine, we can handle that.
Good.
So the industries are making the recommendations,
Yes,
because we can't make.
yeah, the industries are running the show, yeah.
And unfortunately, then you can't hold the industry to an every 3-week cleaning, and this is how the cleaning's to be done. And if you don't, here's the penalty for not doing it, even though
Well, the
they're
penalty
penalizing
is,
themselves.
they're penalizing themselves.
But yet, why aren't they then doing it, except on a every 8-week kind of basis? It's an odd
It is odd.
circumstance.
There's a new guy there, and I think he's just afraid of
Changing things.
change.
Because if they don't continue to clean, then flow goes down.
Mhm.
That impacts the village and treatment center.
Mhm.
Is the engineer report at least making the recommendation, say, hey, if you do more cleaning on a more consistent basis, this is.
System will run.
Yeah, that's there,
We have
and,
data.
and I've tracked all the data. I mean, I get, not on a daily basis, but on a weekly basis, and then a monthly basis, I get what's going on. And, you know, each week I update them, and we've gone through this a number of times over July and August. You know, I see an upswing, I'm like, oh, when was your last cleaning? And, it would be great if I could report that there's a clear and decisive thing between cleanings and how the flow goes, but sometimes there's just random changes. And it's because, what they put through can swing, significantly in terms
They're
of
pre-treating.
their solids and what's in there and everything, you know, so, there are times we can say, hey, we had this huge upsurge on June 27th. Yep, we did our cleaning on June 26th. Okay, that worked, you know, and we went back and did it. There were some random, even more random cleanings done in February. So we've kind of gone back and we've got a chart that shows some correlation, but not a definitive, you know, doing this equals this.
Right.
And that's what we're still working on, and it's just taking forever.
Right, and more of your time than is necessary that
Alright,
they
when are
should
we out of
be
this?
dealing with.
Yeah.
When are we out of this?
Not until we get somebody else to take over, and no one wants to take over.
This is consuming a lot.
It can't be it can't be taken over by a private entity because there's more than one user on it, A, and B, because the pipeline itself exceeds the length that can be considered a lateral, which can be privately owned. This is a transmission line, and so for those two reasons.
But that's why we were talking about putting the second line in, weren't we?
Yes,
Yeah.
the idea behind the second line is
Would have
we
grown.
give, you know, fully brand new infrastructure to the village and they take it over.
Oh, the village would
Then each one has their own lines dedicated to them, and it's their problem.
Yes.
And then we're out of it.
Yes.
But that means you gotta put in a new 4-mile line,
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
$1 million a mile or whatever the number is.
Project is, you know, I would budget it for grant purposes like 1.2, but well, probably more with cost inflators now with where we are with everything. But the original estimate was around $1 million. That was, the quote came from a contractor who we've been using when we've had the disruptions in service, I'll call it. Okay, so more on that. So there is going to be a meeting set up, it is set up, September 16th, between myself, the two industries, between myself, Saputo, the village, and the town. Just working over some issues regarding flows and what needs to be done and who's gonna be responsible, and it's gonna all tie into this pipeline upgrade project. And I'm not sure whether Friesland is gonna be there or not, but I think so.
It should be.
Yes, yeah, the invite just went out this week and I clicked yes with, because I was doing other stuff and I didn't even review it yet, yeah. So hopefully we'll get some movement there.
Good.
Glenn, was the pipeline going to allow for sports field or Clark or other?
Sports field is already tied in
Is-
at their new facility.
To the existing pipeline?
Yes. Yep, so they would be tied into
So they would
the-
be?
Yep, same as that.
and so the potential for more development in the valley there? Like if
Sports
Bergen's ever
field,
stopped farming or
there-
something?
Sports Field's new facility is the last, let's say, entity that has a right to tie into it. Any new additional ones, would have to be addressed on a case-by-case basis.
Well, DEP was very specific that they did not want anybody to tie in other than sports field or Domo Saputo.
Yeah.
So if Bergen's flat was sold for development, they could use the pipeline there?
Well, DEC has said that DEP does not have any right to decide who ties into that pipeline, DEC does. The issue with new users would be subject to the availability of the village wastewater treatment plant to be able to utilize it,
Which is always.
which is the constraining factor right now.
But there's plenty of, they have a ton of capacity
They-
in that treatment plant.
They have capacity, all right, so the village of Delhi is being, I don't think forced yet, but being recommended by DEC. Currently, they have 3 tanks. In the past, it always used to be, they utilized 2, the 3rd was there on an emergency basis. In case something was upsetting their system, they could fully divert all that into 1. Well, now, capacity, not just from the industries, but also from the industries, usage is now where, more often than not, all 3 tanks are being used. So they need to, I don't think it's a firm, you have to do it by such and such a date yet, but they're being told to have a 4th thing that could be a spillover tank. That's gonna be tied into this whole pipeline discussion.
But they get 1.5 times the rate for being outside the village?
New agreements will say that, old agreements
Don't.
did not say that.
Oh, really?
Yes, they were paying single basis. But new agreements will say 1.5.
Okay. Glenn, you wanna talk about the pilot repayment?
Yeah, I'm still waiting on Joe Scott to produce the documents. Yeah, oh yeah, that's why I'm glad to have something else to talk to him about. Cause now it's just another reason for me to give him a call.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, last time I called him and emailed him twice last week, twice each. And I got an email back that I would have the documents by this week.
It's not over yet.
Yes, there's still time, yeah. There's still time, but I'm not hopeful. So yes, he's on my list to call when I get back.
Good.
Where is he located?
Albany.
Where?
Broadway, 670 Broadway.
I'm on my way to Albany.
Okay, good, you wanna stop by and see him?
I'll be more than happy to stop by
Okay.
and pick it up.
All right, I'll let him know, I got a board member who's willing to stop by and pick it up. Okay, yeah, that'll be a good thing for me to include.
Probably reach him on the golf course in Saratoga.
Likely, yes.
Unreal.
There we
Maybe
go.
we'll run into him at the second dog.
Yeah, are you going up this weekend?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good.
Where's he gonna be voting?
I don't know, but keep an eye out. Yeah, I'll send you a picture.
We are,
You know what his vote looks like.
Yeah.
we are alive.
That's
How about a
Okay, we have a request to participate in an upcoming job fair. Glenn?
Oh, yes, the Chamber of Commerce is looking to put together a job fair. A lot of employers in the area have open positions, struggling to fill them. They're modeling it after some job fairs that have been done in the area, Oneonta, Binghamton, where they do kind of like a drive-by. This is more of a hybrid than just a strict drive-by, I think, where, you know, it'll be typically a job fair is just in one big room where everybody's packed in there and you walk around and you talk to all the employers and blah, blah. Well, this would be socially distanced and it would be broken up over a 4-day period, I believe, based on different types of industries. And so there would be a manufacturing day and there would be say 8 to 10 tents set up across the property here, and people would park and properly socially distance. They would have an opportunity to go along to talk to the different employers. And so then there's the 3 other industry segments. I'm not exactly sure how they're broken up off the top of my head, or I am, but I forget. And so the chamber is working in conjunction with CDL Workforce on this to help put it all together. They're seeking some support from the IDA and Economic Development from Delaware County to fund the job fair. My committee, Economic Development Committee, has already committed to funding, and they are making a similar request to the IDA for $2,430.
I think it's a good idea.
I think we should support it.
Yes.
Just kind of interesting how they come up with that number.
Oh, well,
2004.
I'm sorry, I didn't
$30
include, I should have
15
included the budget. The total budget was like $8,300. There was, I did receive a itemized budget for it across all the lines. We had declined to fund one specific category of, one specific itemized thing in there. We agreed to do the rest, and it was split 50-50 between IDA and Delaware County.
Yeah,
But I think that's something we should be supporting. It's advantage for our
It's-
employers.
It makes sense.
It'd be nice if they could move it around the county a little bit.
That's one thing that, in discussing with,
I mean, if this comes off well, maybe we could do one somewhere else too.
right, and discussing with Maggie Gilbert, who's Assistant Director for Delaware County OET. She's doing some recruitment over in the Sydney area and trying to get them to come to Delhi, and and even for the lower portions of the county, yeah, it is hard, but I do believe some of the ones in Hancock are planning on coming.
Can I make a motion, Bruce?
Yep, I'll make that
Second,
motion.
any other discussion?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Glenn, you wanna talk about the Sydney property?
Yeah, and I don't
Do we
really
need
have that,
executive?
I'm not sure, what's that?
I was,
Do we need executive session for this?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think we're all right.
Alright.
Okay, excuse me. So, this is in regards to our property on Delaware Avenue in Sydney. I got some maps here. It was included in stuff that was on, the iPads, but, or Google Docs, but I'm not sure if everybody has it or has it handy. So this is the former Kmart property over in Sydney that we acquired. You'll see it's kind of weird shaped and let's just call it a horseshoe shaped property. In the middle of the prongs of the horseshoe is a parcel that is owned by McDonald's. When this plaza was set up, it was all owned by one owner. And there is a reciprocal easement agreement that dictates and has the specific requirements for upkeep and maintenance of the entire lot.
that's the old.
And so, as it's currently written, the IDA bears 100% of that burden. For everything from keeping the parking lots in good condition to plowing and everything like that. Well, McDonald's just purchased it this spring, I believe. Prior to that, we kind of had a handshake agreement with the owner of that parcel who leased it to McDonald's that said, look, we're doing it anyways, we're just gonna do it, don't worry about it. Well, the left-hand prong of that horseshoe, the parking lot is in horrible shape. Per the dictates of that easement, they have the right to go ahead, have the work done, and we have to pay them for it. So I got a letter from McDonald's early in August, saying they have roughly $82,000 estimate to have that parking lot redone. They're gonna move forward with it and send us the bill, get ready to pay. And so I offered to them, how about instead of that, we do a boundary line adjustment and we give you that left-hand prong. And now, on what's printed out, it doesn't really see it or show, but on the computer it showed better. So this portion here on this side, there is a green hash in there.
Yeah, I see it.
Basically, we would deed that over to McDonald's by boundary line adjustment. They would accept, obviously now it's their property, they have full control of it, and they have full responsibility for maintaining and upkeeping that area. In return for deeding that to them, the IDA wouldn't have to pay $82,000. They would provide us with an access easement through there so we could still use it, or a future user of that property would have the right to still use it as necessary. And also they would agree to sign off on terminating that reciprocal easement agreement, because it requires what is now 3 separate parties that own that whole parcel to agree to it. So obviously we would agree to it, McDonald's would agree to it, and then I would just have to discuss it with the owner of the Grand Union to get rid of that reciprocal agreement. Which would also make it much easier for us to sell that property, because anybody who's smart is not going to be like, oh yeah, I'll take that property and take on the responsibility of maintaining the whole facility for these other 2 people.
Has McDonald's already closed on the building?
Yes, they own it. They purchased it in March, I think, March or April.
Okay.
Yep, and so this letter came in August 5th. You know, I quickly came up with that idea, ran it by Scott and Jim to make sure they were okay with it. Hadn't heard anything. I was gonna call her this week. The woman who's in charge of it reached out to me yesterday and said, look, we ran it by corporate legal, we agree, this is the best way to do it. They're going, oh yeah, where is it?
Otherwise,
So,
they don't have access, that's their only access.
yes. Yeah,
They don't
so,
have access to their building.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, right now, they only have access through an easement, they wanna own it and
This is
control it.
good for everyone.
So this is good for them,
I think I'm
it's
in
good
line.
for us.
I can see me going through the drive-thru.
So you made the motion? I'll second it.
Well, I have a couple of questions.
Okay, so, just a little bit more detail, so, no, you've got it first and the second, now it's open for discussion.
Oh, I see.
That's right.
Yeah, so, McDonald's is gonna pay for the survey, and we'll do the legwork on the boundary line adjustment. And, they will do the legal work. So, basically, they're gonna provide all the work, all I have to do is go to the village board meeting and ask for the boundary line adjustment.
I'll take care of that for you, so just delegate it.
It's in the
Yeah,
village.
exactly.
Oh, well, then
Thanks.
it's probably
Thanks, Sean.
much less than in the.
Thank you, Sean.
I'm sorry.
You just got a job, but it's okay, we'll discuss it later.
You gotta get the village to approve the.
Okay, so we're gonna have a right of way through the end, but do they still have a right to gate it, or?
No, they will not gate it, it will be maintained exactly as is.
Now
They're
what-
not gonna shut it off.
Now, what happens if
Plan
the gentleman that's got the Grand Union building says, I'm not agreeing to this?
Who said that?
If we have 2, that's when it gets tricky.
Because why would he agree that we're gonna get rid of that agreement that we're responsible for taking care of the whole parking lot?
Well, you're being picked up by somebody else, so.
Well, there's
Or-
avenues to pursue.
He doesn't have an option on that, does he? He's the white roof.
Right.
Yes, he's the white roof. and
Right, but I thought you said our agreement was for the whole parking lot.
It
just
is.
enough what we own?
It is,
or-
but there are some things that are going on that we could use as leverage to encourage him to come on.
Okay, and then on the other side of McDonald's, he must have a right of way through there
Mhm.
for access to his property, correct?
Yes, the main entranceway, he has an access way through there. You know, this whole thing was really mucked up when it went for back taxes and that line was put through the parcel. That was just a really bad and sloppy thing to have happen. But that was 30 years ago, so
Okay,
I think there's ways to bring them around.
okay, that's fine.
Mhm.
Okay, good on that.
I mean, even if he doesn't agree and we end up maintaining the rest of the parking lot, all we have to do is plow it. 'Cause we ain't putting nothing in it, except to sell, for now.
Okay. Moving along.
Well, we gotta take a vote on it.
Oh. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second, please. Second, discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
My kids and
Thank
find
you.
out what it is.
Sorry about that.
It's gotta be important.
Yeah, that was his third. Yeah, I'm sorry, I got to do this.
So I was just talking with Jim when you guys were having some discussion about that, but it occurred to me that there may be an issue in the village regs for a minimum road frontage for a parcel, if that one section was removed. I don't know this village regs, and it isn't though, so it's probably not an issue, but maybe. I'm just gonna throw that out. I will follow up and
You can take
Well, we
care.
can always,
I will-
we can work with the mayor.
yeah,
Say-
he's not.
Yeah, we know that guy, don't we?
Yeah, we know that guy.
Right, but the part we're giving them can't be more than 100 feet wide.
I don't think it's an issue, Bruce, I just wanted to throw it out there that
It could be.
things come up like that,
Yeah.
it could be, and that would be the only issue if there is.
So then the road frontage for McDonald's would have
And
to be grandfathered.
having an access agreement as part of it would
Yeah, okay,
take care of it more than likely, but.
yeah.
Fair enough. We can talk about that. I'm gonna wait till Glenn gets back in on the first two loans.
Well, maybe if,
Shoot,
anybody's willing to make the motion on the Hancock Herald, when we could do that.
okay, I mean,
Thanks for the cover. I'll make a motion to approve the Hancock Herald loan.
I'll second it.
Second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Evan's got the next one.
Yeah, is that gonna be as easy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, let me start by saying I'm sorry that you had to deal with this.
Doesn't sound good.
Okay, go for it.
All right, so if everybody hasn't seen it, it's $5,669 loan from the Millennium Fund, and this guy, do we need to go into executive session? If there's finances, I would
Depends on
have
how
to.
deep you're gonna go.
Yeah.
Did everybody read the information? Okay.
Yeah,
We can.
I think the quote is, it is what it is,
Mm,
and then the question is, what do we wanna do with it?
yeah.
okay.
What do you think?
There's some things I like about it, and it goes beyond the finances.
Okay.
It's East Branch, you know, it's kind of an underserved part of the county.
Right.
A lot of that is housing. That was just one thing that, you know, I saw that we could actually make a difference with, because that's infrastructure right there. And he's not as efficient without this. You know, he's renting it from down in Pennsylvania, he's doing that trip 5 hours each week when he rents it for, you know, each week, what is it, $300 a week, he does that twice a month, that's
Right.
a lot more than his monthly payment would be. And if he does that, he'll bring an apprentice on, and I trust him on that, cause he says he even knows who it is. He said he's tried guys out, not everybody fits, but he has one guy. If he can get on bigger jobs, then that works. And I don't know how the second homeowners are they flooding Hancock as much as they are around here?
Well,
I wasn't sure.
It's different.
If that
preface
would be
this, I put the guy onto us. Okay, I know the guy and I've seen the work. He fills a slot. Every one of these guys kind of starts in the Hancock area, and within a year or two, you can't get him. Okay, now he's too busy to do anything, and he's building houses. This is a guy that does your deck, okay, does your roof, pulls some wires and electrical. That's where his expertise is, and right now, he's buried, right? He can't get to all the work that's coming in. And yeah, I mean, he started from zero a year ago, just pulled into Hancock, bought a house in East Branch. And word got around on social media that there was a guy that could do electrical work, plumbing work, roofing work, the whole 9 yards. He has the experience. He's at that tipping point where do you get an extra person or not? And at this point in time, part of this is about a piece of equipment, this trailer.
Yeah.
And you can't rent this trailer. He was renting it in Monticello.
Yeah,
And I guess now he's in Pennsylvania, I guess, or something.
I think there are two
But
places.
it's like
yeah.
$600 a week or something to rent this trailer that's worth about $5,000 if he could buy it. So of course he went to NBT, his favorite local banker, and of course they turned him down because of the financials. So I kind of sent him here as the lender of the last resort, and I thought was maybe a micro loan kind of situation or something. It's not something we traditionally do. Now, if this means that I need this guy to work on something next year and I can't get him, I'm gonna be highly incensed that he's that busy. But, he's pretty much a straight arrow guy. And I support the work that Evan did on this, so it's good work.
And,
So it sounds like a motion.
I move.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Second.
All right.
oh,
You got a motion,
wait a second already.
I got a second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone.
And the third one was an approval that Glenn, Scott, and I made on a small loan, on the small loan program. Sal approached us for a $10,000 loan. He's switching clients as far as his smoked salmon business is concerned. The grocery chain that he was supplying the salmon filed for bankruptcy. And so he had to find a new one. He's got a new one. He's ready to go, and he needs $10,000 for some startup cash to get him back in business. And we took a look and had some discussions on it, and we decided to approve it under the small loan program.
Okay.
And just wanted to.
Yeah, and just so you know the terms, it's a 1-year note. He's gonna make interest-only payments each month. He's required to pay 50% of the balance off by February 1st, and the other 50% off by September 1st, and it's not revolving. It's just one-time thing.
Good.
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 12 months time now. Let's see.
I'll make a motion. Is it illegal to smoke salmon? I'll make a motion to approve.
It's a good day.
Good day.
Well, yeah, it's
Seen a
Ray
lot of
Turner
those days.
guys. Smoking eel.
Where's
like,
the-
is it
You ever
illegal?
smoke salmon?
Smoke eel, I mean.
Did you ever drive through the poppy fields on your way here?
I think
I couldn't
so.
find the hemp farm, sorry.
Any other old or new business?
I have something, but it is a contractual issue.
And I have something that involves purchase of a piece of property.
Oh, yes.
So we need to go back into executive session.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
Before you do that, Jim, do you want to go to LDC and then I can just stop recording so that, or you can't do it that way?
Yeah, we could do it that way.
Don't you have to come back?
Perfect,
into
yeah, we'll do it
executive
that way.
Yeah.
Well, are you gonna take action after executive session?
session? We have to adjourn.
Maybe.
in public.
Possibly.
Okay.
Yeah, we have to. Sorry. Sorry.
You and your little yellow stickers.
Yeah. We're gonna talk about that, right, Jim?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
But
We have a
your
solution to this.
Your little yellow stickers?
Yes.
We're gonna get pink ones instead.
Yeah, we're going to get new, we're gonna have you all using your own computers.
I love that. Yay.
Good.
Especially since
Ready for me?
Yes.
No, I was getting tea.
So, but they won't do nothing until they do an MRI, which
No.
the insurance company's got to approve.
That's his job to fight it out.
We've been waiting a week already. Yeah.
Okay, we're back from executive session.
We're
Thank you,
back.
Lillian. I'd like a motion to make a purchase offer on the property, on Airport Road in Deposit. It's 14.8 acres, and, we would like to make a purchase offer for 14.8 acres.
So moved. Negotiate the price.
All in favor?
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Can we use Millennium money to buy this?
We'll-
Yes.
Whatever's left, and then, you know, cause we just approved a loan, 2 loans out of the Millennium.
You know, I forgot that, that's, my intent was to finish off the
Okay,
Million fund.
clean it up.
okay, I'm in favor.
So all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
Oh, just one last thing, because you bring that up, would we, just to make sure there's more Millennium Fund available for that, would we wanna switch the George Jones loan over to our IDA microloan, since it is essentially a microloan?
It's a, yeah, it's a small one.
Okay, so we'll
Okay.
switch that.
Free up some more.
Yep,
Okay.
the other small one.
The other
Okay.
one was 50.
Any other old or new business for the IDA?
55.
There was
A motion to adjourn the meeting then, please.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
You gotta come up with another.
Then let's open the LDC meeting. And this will be quick, cause I have no names. Approval of the minutes,
So moved.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
I need approval of the 4 financial reports, the treasurer's report, loan report, invoices, and the audit.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Evan, you wanna give an update on the EDA grant?
I'll be quick, no decision yet, just, you know, not real news whenever I talk with the EDA, it's nothing concrete or anything. All they say is they like the idea, they think it's a good investment, but the funds are getting really competitive right now, so we have a lot of people. That's all I get from them.
Yeah, and you know, where we're at is they're trying to encourage us to have a multi-county loan review committee, and we're not so much there, because we're the ones putting money
I
into it.
should have mentioned that, yeah. They can come with 3 decisions. They can say you're not gonna get funded, they can say, okay, we're funding as is, or they're gonna say, we're gonna fund, but you have to have a multi-county committee that it goes through first. And then it goes to the
That
LDC.
goes to the board for approval.
And then
Can you
we
put
decide
that
whether we
together?
want that or not.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Don't want to, but we can.
There you go.
Yeah.
Sometimes you do, you don't want it.
Exactly.
Just like the Giants getting rid of you.
So you can put together a multi-county committee that has no.
That's the way I would wanna set it up, that they just have the
There's an
ability to
advisory
make a
board.
recommendation.
Okay.
That this board then either follows or disregards.
Does that have to pattern after your Southern Tier group, or can it be any county you want?
It has
Our
to be-
counties are us, Broome, Tioga, Shenango, and Tompkins.
Yeah, your Southern Tier.
Yeah, basically our southern tier except the far western ones.
So we've got 2 of the 3 scenarios covered.
Yeah.
Let's hope for at least one of those 2.
Yeah, and you know, look, other than Tioga, we already cover those counties with our ag loan fund, so it's not that much.
Do you have an advisory group for the ag ones?
No.
But that's USDA and this is EDA, so they do
Yeah.
things
Yeah,
differently.
it's different.
All right. Any other old or new business? Okay, then can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Secondly.
Got
And
motions
has a
today.
motion.